These 11 scientists linked to sensitive programs in the U.S. have suddenly disappeared. Congress is now opening an investigation.
Well, I hope it's random. Pretty serious stuff. Hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next.
On April 16, 2026, President Trump brought up a case that had been mostly circulating online, especially on Reddit, where it was often linked to conspiracy theories. A few days later, on April 20th, Congress announced it had referred the matter to several federal agencies, including the FBI and the National Security Agency. It is very unlikely this is a coincidence. Congress is very concerned and is making this a top priority from now on because we see it as a national security issue. James Comer, a Republican lawmaker and chair of the House Oversight Committee, said he initially thought it was some kind of crazy conspiracy theory before concluding that something much more sinister might be going on. NASA, which is connected to 3 of the cases, said it is cooperating with the appropriate agencies regarding the missing scientists, while adding that so far, nothing indicates a threat to national security. Since 2022, 11 American scientists working on sensitive programs, including nuclear and space research, have died or gone missing under circumstances described as unusual by several media outlets. Here's what is known about those 11 cases. Amy Eskridge, 34.
There's multiple parties looking at each other like, didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago.
Amy died on June 11, 2022 in Alabama. A researcher in experimental propulsion, she had co-founded a research institute and claimed to be exploring concepts like anti-gravity. Her death was ruled a suicide by gunshot. Before her death, she reported harassments, threats, and possible sabotage attempts. Michael David Hicks, 59. A physicist at a NASA propulsion lab specializing in comets and asteroids, he died on July 30th, 2023. The cause of death was not made public. Frank Maywald, 61, a researcher at the same NASA lab, he died on July 4th, 2024 in Los Angeles with no official explanation. Anthony Chavez, 78, a former employee at Los Alamos National Laboratory, one of the most sensitive research centers in the U.S., he disappeared on May 4th, 2025 after leaving his home on foot. Despite extensive searches, he has still not been found. Monaco Jacinta Reza, 60, an aerospace engineer at the same NASA lab, she disappeared on June 22nd, 2025 while hiking in California. She was walking with someone, but stepped about 30 feet away and was never seen again. Melissa Casays, 53. 4 days later, on June 26, 2025, this administrative assistant at Los Alamos disappeared without a trace. She was last seen near a highway without her phone or personal belongings. Stephen Garcia, 48. On August 28, 2025, he disappeared after leaving his home in Albuquerque. He worked at a site focused on nuclear weapons components. Police said at the time he was armed and could be a danger to himself, but he has not been found. Jason Thomas, 45. A deputy director in chemical biology, he went missing on December 12, 2025. His body was found 3 months later on March 17, 2026 in a lake in Massachusetts. His cause of death has not been officially determined. Nuno Laureano, 48. A nuclear physicist at MIT, he died from a gunshot wound on December 16, 2025. Early findings suggest he was shot at home after a dispute with another scientist. Carl Grillmeyer, 67. An astrophysicist, he was shot and killed outside his home on February 16, 2026. While no clear motive was established, a suspect was arrested the same day for car theft and later linked it to the killing. The two men did not know each other, but the suspect had previously been arrested for entering Grillmeyer's property with a rifle. William Neal McCaslin, 68. On February 26, 2026, the retired Air Force general disappeared in New Mexico. Some personal items were found at his home, but others, including his revolver, are missing. His name had previously come up in discussions about UFOs after WikiLeaks documents mentioned his role in sensitive programs. His disappearance, which came days after Trump announced the declassification of UFO-related documents, remains unexplained. According to Comer, several of these individuals were at the forefront, especially in nuclear research. We know many countries around the world would like access to our expertise and capabilities. However, some families question whether the cases are connected. Amy Eskridge's father said her death was not linked, adding, "People need to understand that scientists die too." McCaslin's family also rejects any connection. His wife said, "He retired 13 years ago. It seems unlikely he was kidnapped for secrets that are old." Hicks's daughter said there is no logical reason to connect her father to any federal investigation. Only a friend of Anthony Chavez welcomed the renewed attention, saying it's about time. In most cases, the causes of death or the circumstances of disappearances remain unclear. In others, police investigations have provided partial explanations, as with Laureano and Grillmeyer. James Walkinshaw, a Democratic lawmaker on the same committee, said an investigation is justified, but added he is not convinced there is a coordinated motive behind the cases. For now, no official evidence confirms a link between all of the incidents, and the investigation is just beginning. Caroline Leavitt said on X that everything will be done to identify any possible similarities.